guys, today's tutorial will be on the companion cube for the video games Portal and Portal 2. I wanted to make this because I really like the video games and I was always really sad at the companion cube parts, and so I thought I'd make a little tribute out of cloth. Okay, the list of supplies you'll need for this tutorial are as follows. You'll need 3 colors of felt, which is light pink, light gray, and dark gray. You'll need some scissors to cut everything out. You'll need some paper and a printer to print out the template. You'll need some cardboard to make the template pieces. You'll need a color of thread. It doesn't really matter what color you use, that's up to you. And you'll need a sewing machine. First thing you need to do is get all the colors in the companion cube. I chose to use felt for the pink and gray. So I got 2 sheets of pink and 2 sheets of light gray. And then for the dark gray, kind of looks black, but it is dark gray. I got this really soft material because I figured I wanted something, if I was going to use this pillow, I wanted something soft. The next step is to start tracing. So I'll link to this in the description. It's a little template that I used for the companion cube, and you can resize it if you want, either smaller or bigger, but this was about the size I wanted. What I did for this part is I actually traced them out onto cardboard pieces, the parts out. So see, that was the corner piece, this was the circle. So I could, instead of tracing around paper, which is really irritating, I just used the cardboard as a pattern and traced around it and cut it out. So after you're done cutting it all out, what you need to do next is start sewing. You can sew this by hand, but I've never really sewn that much by hand, so I did it with a sewing machine. And I kind of did it in a particular order for each side. What I did for the order was, first I did the corner pieces because they were easy. And then for the side pieces here, what I wanted to do was put the pink strip under the circle and the side pieces so it would look more neat. And so I did 3 sides of the side pieces, and then I would sew that down and sew it on top of it. So it created, you can see that. So it created a cleaner edge here. And then I just sewed on the heart and the circle on top of that. The stitching I used was the zigzag stitching, and I used darker thread, but some people don't really want the stitching to show, and I kind of wanted it to make it look sort of patchwork. But you can put a lighter thread, like a light gray, if you don't want it to show as much, and then light pink when you go over to the pink parts. That was just a lot of thread switching, and I kind of wanted it to show. So yeah. Oh my god, I cannot talk. I'm not gonna probably use any of this. Okay, so the way to sew it all together, all the sides together, is kind of particular. Like, if you ever taken geometry, then you know that to make a cube you have to make it in a particular diagram, which I'll show here. And after you sew all of the pieces just like that, you have to start folding it. Like, if you do it with a piece of paper at first, it's a lot more easy. It's a lot easier to see how you're supposed to sew it all together. It's kind of really hard to explain. Fush, hold on. Okay, so this is kind of a rough explanation of how you're supposed to sew it up. So first you need to make it into this sort of design. Kind of looks like a cross, I guess, and each of the folded would be like one side of your companion cube. You need to sew it inside out first so you can flip it over so you don't see the seam. You have to sew all the sides up except for one. So you would sew, just say, these 2 sides together, these 2 sides together, these 2 sides together, the other side, and then you can see that side and the other side, and then leave one side open. I'll link to a better explanation of this. I'm not very good at sewing, so I just kind of roughed it. So after you're done sewing it up so it only has one side open, just stuff it full of the fluffy stuff. What do you call that? And after you're done filling it up, what you have to do is, what is it called? Whip stitch it? I think that's what it's called. Which is basically just an outside stitch, which it looks a bit messy, but it's the only way to really seal it up, unless you would like to put a zipper on it, which I saw in a tutorial, but I don't know, I didn't really feel like making a zipper, so it's basically, you do it by hand. It's just an outside stitch. It's really easy. All you have to do is like fold in the sides and then just go along with it. You can just look up a whip stitching tutorial, because again, I am not a person that sews that often. I'm trying to explain this the best I can, I promise. So yeah, that is the tutorial. I hope that wasn't really confusing, and if it was, I'll explain it down in the description as well, just in case you're really confused. Well, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I have more tutorials up on my channel for other things, such as all of the keyblades you see in the wall here. I have tutorials for all of those, so you can check that out. I have a playlist of tutorials, which I'll link to. Okay, I need to end this before I make a fool of myself even more. Okay, goodbye.